name is Sarthak Gar, and when I was young, I wanted to be a space cowboy. But my parents shot that down because they thought that was way too unrealistic.
My name is Jordan Allum, and when I was younger, I wanted to start my own business, but my parents shot that down because they thought it was way too unrealistic.
My name is Haley Lucas, and when I was younger, I wanted to be a mermaid. My parents shot that down saying it was way too unrealistic.
One of these things is not like the other.
And for our project, we want to show kids that entrepreneurship is a viable career path. A lot of people think that entrepreneurship is unrealistic because they think that all entrepreneurs have to come up with some crazy idea that's going to change the world. And we wanted to remind children that entrepreneurship can be the lemonade stand they have at the end of their driveway, or selling baseball cards. So our mission statement was to give kids from lower socioeconomic backgrounds a realistic look, view, and feel of entrepreneurship and how it can positively affect futures and potential career paths.
Interestingly enough, we found a Chinese proverb that we think emulates our project perfectly, and it goes like this. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And what we took from this was that we needed to get these students started young. We needed to show them realistic views of entrepreneurship and how it can affect their lives.
Our first activity was volunteering at Junior Achievement, or JA BizTown. We got this idea from a few members of our Deca chapter, including our own group member, Jordan Allum, who participated in JA BizTown when they were in elementary school and is now one of the core reasons they're in Deca today. In order to be a part of this program, we had to contact the local representatives and then set a date and time to go and volunteer with the students.
So on November 14th, we brought down 15 members from Senior Deca to the local Junior Achievement Center, and we met with about 60 kids from Canton, Ohio. Now, these kids were the entrepreneurs, and they came with their own jobs set up in this little mock town. This town had shops such as Huntington, Chase, Canes, Kroger, local businesses that had decided to sponsor this event by donating money and resources. And what we did there was we helped the students create their business and set their price points and made sure that everything runs smoothly.
This event was important to our project for two main reasons. One, it helped us create a relationship between us, Liberty Deca, and JA BizTown, which helps us reach more people and make the BizKids initiative even more effective. Secondly, it also showed us exactly what we would need to do to properly engage these kids so that they can effectively apply those in-class concepts into real life. JA BizTown helped us create an effective business simulation to do exactly that.
Our second event was a series of coffee talks, which we held with local entrepreneurs Sean Kunix and Ty Kashmiri. Both are very prevalent in our community, school, and more specifically our Deca chapter. When we met with them, we hosted meetings at our school, a series of emails, and phone conferences.
We met with Ty Kashmiri after school one day to bounce ideas off of and to get his opinion on our project. And then we brought in Sean Kunix for coffee and donuts. And he went through with our entire Deca chapter, about 70 members, his life experiences, going from leaving his house at age 14 to owning 82 Verizon stores to owning the exotic car dealership that he owns today. And we did this through a question and answer format. The students were able to ask questions and he answered honestly. This kept our chapter engaged and actively listening and gave us all what it was like to be a true entrepreneur.
The experiences of Mr. Kunix taught us and gave us a lot of pieces of advice. And the three pieces of advice that stuck out to us most were that, one, you should surround yourself with a circle of people who you trust like your own family. Two, was to know how much your own time is worth. And three, and most importantly, was to work hard and put yourself in a position to be lucky. We used these pieces of advice Mr. Kunix taught us and applied it to the rest of the BizKids initiative to enrich these children's experience and make them understand these business concepts more.
Our third event was the Deca Hall of Fame Breakfast, which is a tradition within the Olentangy Local School Deca chapter. This year we were able to induct our nominee, Ty Kashmiri. We chose Ty Kashmiri as our entrepreneur to induct because of his work around the community and more specifically how much he had helped with our BizKids initiative just this year.
All three Deca chapters within Olentangy local schools and their inductees came together to eat breakfast. Us three talked as well as members from other chapters and all the inductees. The inductees were able to talk in front of about 200 Deca members and get across their message and what they thought it meant to be an entrepreneur.
Like Jordan said, these three entrepreneurs were able to talk in front of 200 people, which increased the reach of BizKids by a large amount. Additionally, we were honored to listen to these three entrepreneurs and their lessons. And the lesson that stuck out to us most was Mr. Kashmiri's and how he would consistently talk about investing back into the community. That's something we took to heart when we evaluated BizKids, and we wanted BizKids to be a program that can invest into the community and make a better future for the students who are coming up so that they have a bright future in entrepreneurship.
Our fourth event and the biggest, or the center point of our project, was our entrepreneurship carnival, which we hosted at a local elementary school. We took the 3 things that we learned from our 3 other activities when trying to create this carnival. So we learned to create a simulation, much like J. Biztown, which we did with the help of the teacher of the elementary school classroom. Second, we took all the advice that we learned from both of our entrepreneurs when trying to teach the kids about realistic entrepreneurship. And thirdly, we tried to remember that this is us investing into their futures. This is how we are investing with our community using entrepreneurship.
We met with this local elementary school 5 times. The first time that we came together, we tried to teach them about entrepreneurship and show them realistic views. And interesting enough, a girl shared an idea where she wanted to create shoes that would throw marshmallows in your mouth. And this was eye-opening to us because it showed us that these kids thought that entrepreneurship was this big thing where you had to create your own idea. And what we were trying to show them was that it is a realistic and viable career option. On the second day, we introduced them to the carnival and they came up with games and what they might want their carnival to look like. On the third day, they decided on what games they wanted to do, they set rules, they decided what they needed to make these games happen, and they started planning. On day 4, their ideas came to life. We brought together 5 junior members of Deca to help us run this event. We let the kids set up their own games and the carnival commenced. On day 5, we came back together and we evaluated the project and we looked at which games got the most tickets, why they might have gotten the most tickets, and what we learned is that they had fun and that they had a realistic view of entrepreneurship.
This event was the biggest and most important event in the BizKids initiative for a multitude of reasons. First, it creates another relationship between Liberty Deca and the local community. And in the future, to make sure BizKids has a long-term effect, we can use the same relationship to possibly integrate what we try and teach to the curriculums at the schools and thereby be able to affect a larger audience. Additionally, this showed these children and students that we taught that entrepreneurship is a viable career. It's not something crazy where you have to invent a robot that does all your homework. It's solving a problem, and anyone can do it if they're willing to put in the hard work necessary.
When evaluating our project, we gave ourselves 3 out of 5 stars for planning and organization. We did this because our first 3 events went off without a hitch due to the amount of planning we put into it. But when working with the kids, there are a few things that we could have fixed. One, I don't think any of us truly understood how well these children would learn about entrepreneurship, and we could have kind of taken it a little bit further. And second was, once again, none of us had worked with kids before, so when teaching them on the first day, we had them sitting still listening to us, and that was not the best way that they were receiving our message. So by the final day, when we were reiterating our initial message, we had them up and moving around talking with groups so that they weren't just sitting there and listening to us talk to them, they were engaged with us.
For our execution, we gave ourselves 5 stars out of 5. We feel like our project, we met all of our goals, we exceeded them, and all of our events went off without a hitch. At JA Biztown, the kids had fun, and our DECA members learned about these kids and how they were learning about entrepreneurship. For our coffee talk, Sean Kunix got his message across and shared with our DECA chapter what it meant to be an entrepreneur. And then at our Hall of Fame breakfast, Ty Kashmiri got his message across to all 200 DECA members perfectly. And then with the Entrepreneurship Carnival, we reached all 3 goals that we had for them. The kids had fun, the kids were safe, and they got a realistic view of entrepreneurship.
For strength of activities, we gave ourselves 4 out of 5 stars. Because while we felt like we met our goals effectively, there's always more we can do. To properly measure the effectiveness of BizKids, we administered a pre- and post-test with the class that we worked with to see how effective it was. After the BizKids initiative, there was a 76% increase in the pass rate of those children in entrepreneurship and personal economics concepts, clearly showing that our initiative was a success. However, there's always room for more improvement, being able to provide more regular activities and different activities to just solidify those concepts in as many different ways as possible. That's why we gave ourselves 4 out of 5 stars. We also gave ourselves 4 out of 5 stars on community involvement. Once again, going back to those children, they were engaged, they were having fun, they were channeling their energy into positive aspects of their learning, being able to apply those in-class concepts into real-life situations for them. We hope to use this project in the future, pass it on to other teams in our chapter so that it goes on for a long term, creates a legacy of this, and really makes BizKids more effective. In total, we thought BizKids was a huge success. When we started this project, we kept that Chinese proverb in mind that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and that the second best time was now. We saw this project as our way of planting the seeds of entrepreneurship for these kids 20 years ago. This was their moment.
Thank you for listening.